An 8-year-old turns in a dinosaur report. It is clean, fluent, and written in a voice that is not his. The adult at home smiled. The teacher, the next morning, hears a chatbot cadence. Nobody planned a fraud. Someone mistook a draft for a piece of work. That mistake is the subject of the next 17 minutes. This video is for parents and teachers. It is not made for a child to watch alone, and it is not a kid's show wearing a lesson. If a child is in the room, an adult stays. We will talk about real tools, ChatGPT, Claude, Scratch, NotebookLM, a text-to-speech reader, and about one question a tutorial cannot settle. Does AI enlarge a child's voice or replace it? Start with the rule that holds the rest. The account belongs to an adult. ChatGPT and Claude open under a parent's or teacher's email, payment, and rules. The child does not create a profile. The child is not asked to accept terms. The child is not left alone with a box that sounds like a friend. The adult signs in. The child sits beside them. That is not theatrical distrust. It is design. A language model does not know whether the writer is 8. It takes text and returns text. If an adult does not hold the frame, time, topic, what gets pasted and what never does, the box becomes a cheap oracle. Oracles do not teach. The adult who decides when the tab opens and when it closes does. First technique, ask before. Before anyone touches the keyboard, the child says out loud what they think, what they want to know, and what they have already seen. If they cannot offer one sentence of their own, there is not yet a prompt. There is curiosity, and that is enough for a conversation. It is not enough to let a machine speak in their name. An empty chair is not filled by an elegant paragraph. Try the empty chair test. The adult asks, what are you going to ask it? If the answer is to do it for me, you stop. If the answer is, I want to know why a T-Rex could not run the way it does in movies, you already have a voice. That sentence, clumsy or precise, is the material. The model does not invent it. The child brings it. Without that sentence, everything else is productivity theater. Second technique, the prompt fits in 2 sentences, not a page of instructions, not act as a world expert. 2 sentences the child could repeat without reading the screen. First, what they want. Second, in what form. Example, explain why some dinosaurs had feathers, in one short paragraph with words I can say. That is an 8-year-old prompt. The rest is an adult costume. If the prompt grows until it looks like a contract, the adult is already doing the thinking. The child is watching magic. Magic cannot be edited. A short text can. 2 sentences exist so the child can point at what went wrong. I did not ask for that. I do not understand this. Those 2 complaints are the start of judgment. A wall of instructions smothers them. The whole workflow fits on one line. Idea, prompt, draft, the child edits, print at home. 5 stations, none get skipped. The idea is spoken. The prompt is 2 sentences. The draft is the machine's. The edit is the child's, in pencil or on a cursor, out loud. Printing pulls the text out of the cloud and onto a table where an adult can read it without a scroll bar. Station 1, the idea. The child names the topic in their words, not in the title on the board if that title does not yet belong to them. I want to tell how an octopus lives is better than write a report on marine invertebrates. The adult writes that sentence on paper. The paper is the compass. If the draft wanders, you return to the paper, not to a longer prompt. Station 2, the prompt. The adult types. The child dictates the 2 sentences. If the child cannot dictate them, you go back to the idea. You do not skip ahead. ChatGPT or Claude on the adult account receives exactly that. No include academic citations if the child does not know what a citation is. No professional tone. The child will set the tone later by crossing out what does not sound like them. Station 3, the draft. A paragraph appears. Nobody turns it in. Nobody uploads it to the classroom portal. Nobody photographs it for the parent chat. It is raw material, like clay. The adult reads the first sentence aloud and asks, "Would you say this?" If the child hesitates, that sentence gets marked. Hesitation is information. The model does not take offense. The child's work has not started. It starts now. Station 4. The child edits. They cut a sentence. They change a word. They add one line only they could write. Something they saw. Something that disgusts them. Something that makes them laugh. If the page is still almost the draft, you do not print. You edit again or you throw it away. Schoolwork is not a certificate that the machine works. It is proof that someone thought with their hands. Station 5. Print it at home. 1 page. Paper. The file does not migrate into another shared folder just in case. The sheet can be crossed out, smell like toner, hang on a wall. That gesture is the lesson. The text is no longer infinite. It has an edge. An edge forces a choice. Choosing is the work a chat cannot do for a child, however confident it sounds. Third technique, and it is stern on purpose. If they cannot explain it, it does not get turned in. Explaining is not reciting the paragraph. It is answering 3 questions without looking at the screen. What is it about? Which part are you unsure of? What would you change if you had to tell a younger child? If they stall on all 3, the text did not come from them. Back to the idea. No drama. A filter. That filter saves the adult from a modern trap, mistaking fluency for understanding. A model writes like a diligent, tired student. A tired teacher can also be carried by the shine. So the explanation is oral and short, not an interrogation. 3 questions. If you get even one honest answer. I do not know this. The machine made it up. You already won. The child just saw the trick. 4th technique. Verify one fact. 1. Not a theatrical bibliography. Pick a name, a date, a place, or one concrete claim in the draft. Check it in another source, a book at home, a children's encyclopedia, a site the adult already trusts, the class material itself. If the fact does not appear, you strike it or mark it as a doubt. The chat is not a second source for itself. Why 1 and not 5? 5 becomes the adult's homework and the child vanishes. 1 fits in 5 minutes. The habit is the prize. Today we check whether octopuses have a beak. You look. You write yes, no, or we could not find it. That third option is gold. It teaches that not knowing is a result. The model hates I don't know. It always fills. A classroom needs the gap. 5th technique. 1 page, 1 image, 1 reading aloud. 3 pieces, not a digital portfolio. The page is the edited text. The image, if you make one, is generated with the adult sitting there. The reading is the child reading what they wrote, not the raw draft. If they choke on a sentence, that sentence gets rewritten. The mouth is the most honest editor in the house. A short page kills copy-paste theater. Nobody needs 4 sheets to prove they can open a chat. 1 page forces a center. The teacher who assigns a 10-page research piece with AI is assigning volume. Volume is cheap. A center is expensive. Teach the child to defend a center, not to fill a margin. The image, supervised generation. The adult opens the tool. The child describes what they want to see. An octopus hidden in rocks, no people. The adult checks the prompt and the result. If a real child's face appears, a recognizable school or a brand, you discard it. The image illustrates an idea. It does not portray a minor's life. You do not use their photo. You do not upload their notebook to a generator. If you have no image tool, they draw. A child's drawing is worth more in this flow than a perfect plate. The perfect plate replaces again. The drawing, however clumsy, enlarges the voice. This is how I saw it. If you do generate, treat it like a map. A map does not sign the work. The child who can explain why they chose those rocks and not a cartoon octopus does. Scratch and Scratch Jr. are not a prize after the chat. They are the other pole. In Scratch Junior, an 8-year-old snaps blocks and sees cause and effect. The cat moves because they ordered it, not because a model understood the assignment. That difference matters. A chat hides the mechanism. Scratch puts it on the table. Chat alone teaches asking. Blocks teach building. A tiny block project. The character greets, asks something, waits. 10 minutes. The adult does not optimize it with a model that rewrites the code. If the child gets stuck, you ask what they wanted to happen. You try. You fail. You try again. That cycle is closer to programming, and to science, than a correct paragraph on the first attempt. NotebookLM, if you use it, is also an adult account. The adult pastes a text they chose, a short article, a chapter, class notes that were already public in the room. You do not paste the child's diary. You do not paste a class list. You do not paste a family audio. The tool summarizes and answers about that material. It is a notebook with a flashlight. It is not a friend who already knows a minor's life. How to use it without turning it into a trap. The child asks a question about the pasted text. The adult looks at the answer and says, "Show me the paragraph it rests on." If there is no paragraph, you strike it. NotebookLM is useful when the adult already curated the source. It is dangerous when it is treated as an infinite true library. It is not. It is a fast reader of what you pasted. The text-to-speech reader does not read the machine's draft. It reads what the child wrote after editing. That is the rule. The child hears their own sentences, oddities included. If a line sounds fake out loud, you change it. The ear catches an imposter faster than a tired eye. The adult does not use a synthetic voice to improve homework. They use it to give the child their text back. There is a tender use and a lazy one. Tender. The child wrote 3 sentences and wants to hear them while they draw. Lazy. The adult asks the model for a story and plays it to quiet the house. This video defends the first. The second replaces again. If there will be a synthetic voice, let it be an echo of a small human hand, not a substitute for reading together. Privacy, without euphemism. You do not paste photos of the child. You do not put their real name in the prompt. You do not name the school, the grade, the teacher, the street, the team, the birthday. You do not upload the whole notebook so it can mark it. A model does not need a minor's biography to explain dinosaur feathers. If the prompt asks for identity, the prompt is wrong. The adult is careful too. You do not open a child account to dodge an age gate. You do not pretend the child is 13 or 18. Platform rules exist. This channel does not teach you to evade them. It teaches you to work on an adult account for a short stretch, on a school or curiosity topic, and to close the tab. Closing is part of the pedagogy. At home, the write can last 20 minutes. Monday, the idea out loud. Tuesday, 2 sentences and a draft. Wednesday, an edit and 1 verified fact. Thursday, an image or a drawing. Friday, a reading and a printout. It is not a curriculum, it is a scaffold. If there is no appetite one day, you do not open the chat for a minute. A minute without a frame is the oracle. The frame is care, given the shape of an hour. In class, the teacher designs the filter, not the show. One possible workshop. Everyone brings a question of their own. The teacher opens 1 adult account on the projector. You send 1 collective 2-sentence prompt. You print the draft. Each child edits on paper. 3 students explain without reading. The model appears for 10 minutes. Thinking appears for the rest of the hour. That is proportion. There are 2 symmetrical failures, celebrating the first fluent paragraph. The child learns that shine is enough, banning all AI and never teaching the filter. The child will use it later, alone, without language for doubt. Neither applause nor a raid teaches. What teaches is the habit of asking first, shortening the prompt, editing, checking 1 fact, and not turning in what they cannot explain. I will not invent figures about how many children already use this, or how much scores go up. I do not have those as my own measurement, and I will not round a headline. What I can say is smaller and more useful. Language models produce plausible text. Plausibility is not understanding. And an adult can design a flow where the child remains the author. That is enough to act this week. What, from age 8, means the child can already dictate 2 sentences, cross out a word, and read a short paragraph aloud. It does not mean they are ready for an account. 8 is not a license. It is an age when the scaffold fits. A spoken idea, paper, a pencil, an adult beside them. If they do not yet read with ease, Scratch Junior and conversation are enough. The chat can wait. A recap of the tools without brand worship. ChatGPT or Claude. A draft, an adult account, 2 sentences. An image generator. Only if the adult opens and reviews it with no real faces. Scratch or Scratch Junior. Build, do not beg. NotebookLM. The adult pastes a chosen text. The child asks about that text. TTS. Reads what the child wrote. Paper and a printer. The Edge. 5 instruments. 1 standard. The standard fits on a question you can hang on the fridge. Does this enlarge my voice or replace it? It enlarges if the child arrived with an idea, edited, explained, and checked 1 fact. It replaces if the first paragraph traveled to school without passing through their mouth. You do not need a committee. You need that sentence, said out loud, before anyone hits send. A test for tonight, if there is a topic this week. The adult opens the account. The child speaks the idea. 2 sentences, 1 draft. The child crosses out 3 things. You verify 1 fact in another source. You read aloud. You print or you do not, according to the explanation. You close the tab. Time, under half an hour. Result, not a genius. A small author with a filter. That is what this video came to leave you. If the child asks, "So is AI bad?" do not hand them a sermon. Tell them it is a very fast pencil and a little bit of a liar. A pencil does not think for you. A fast pencil can make you forget you had a hand. The hand is what we are training. The machine stays on the adult's table. The hand goes to school. If a teacher asks, "Should I allow it?" answer with design, not panic. Allow a collective draft, paper edits, an oral explanation, and 1 verified fact. Do not allow turning in the first output. Do not allow accounts for minors. Do not allow photos or names in the prompt. Permission without a filter is neglect. A ban with no alternative is neglect in another costume. I closed the opening hook. The dinosaur text was not a crime. It was a symptom. Someone took a draft for a voice. The cure is not to hide the tools. It is to give the child back the 5 stations and the fridge question. Idea. Short prompt. Draft. Edit. Paper. If they cannot explain it, it does not get turned in. 1 fact gets checked. 1 page. 1 supervised image. 1 reading. I did not claim this raises grades or prepares a child for the jobs of the future. I claimed a household and classroom craft you can practice already. Brand names will change. The craft will not. Ask before, do not turn in what is not yours. Do not give a minor's identity to a text box. That is not a statistic. It is a decision. The last image I want to leave is not a robot. It is a table. An adult, a child, a page full of crossings out, a tab already closed. On that table, AI was clay. The author was the one who crossed out. If you change only 1 thing this week, let it be that. A visible mark. The mark is the voice. The rest, however fluent, still belongs to no one. A question to leave open, without a packaged moral. When your child or your student turns in the next page, will they be able to say, without reading, which part was born from them? If the answer is yes, the tool enlarged. If the answer is no, you still have time to return to the chair, the 2 sentences, and the pencil. The chat can wait.